I'm not Mitch Connor, and it's fairy tale reading time. Enjoy this fairy tale by Anna Arel, entitled Skyping with the Enemy. I went undercover as a Jihadi girlfriend. This is a pseudonym, by the way. And when a French journalist posed online as a young woman interested in ISIS, she was soon contacted by a fighter in Syria. He proposed marriage, but could she maintain a double life? Now, before I read this, I'm going to read the whole freaking thing, even if it has to be 2 parts, I don't care. Or you can just read it yourself, link in the description as always. And there's no proof for any of this whatsoever. But I'm just going to have fun reading through it and analyzing the stupidity of it. It was 10 o'clock on a Friday night in spring 2014, and I was sitting on the sofa in my one-bed Paris apartment when I received a message from a French terrorist based in Syria. Salam alaikum, sister. I see you watched my video. It's gone viral. Crazy. Are you a Muslim? What do you think about Mujahideen? A journalist, I had been writing about European jihadis in Islamic State for about a year. I created a social media account using the name Melody to investigate why European teenagers were attracted to Islamic extremism. I spent hours scanning feeds filled with descriptions of gruesome plans. I had spent that night on my couch flicking from account to account when I came across a video of a French jihadi who looked to be about 35. He wore military fatigues and called himself Abu Bilal. He claimed to be in Syria. I would later learn that I had been writing about European jihadis in Islamic State for about a year. I created a social media account using the name Melody to investigate why European teenagers were attracted to Islamic extremism. I spent hours scanning feeds filled with descriptions of gruesome plans. I had spent that night on my couch, flicking from account to account, when I came across a video of a French jihadi who looked about 35. He wore military fatigues and called himself Abu Bilal. He claimed to be in Syria. I would later learn that he had spent the past 15 years waging jihad all over the world. All over the world? We're going to find out it's just in the Middle East, Libya, Syria, Iraq, and yeah, that's not all over the world. Anyway, to go on. But for the moment, I knew nothing of the bellicose man on my screen proudly unveiling the contents of his SUV glove box. A thick stack of Syrian pounds, candy, a knife. He removed his reflective Ray-Bans, revealing darkly lined black eyes. I knew that Afghan soldiers wear kohl around their eyes. Kohl, by the way, is, yeah, eyeliner. I'll leave a link for this too. It's kind of freaking ludicrous. I don't even want to go into it. Anyway, still, seeing a terrorist with eyes made up like my own was surprising. He was good-looking. He spoke perfect French, with what to me sounded like a very slight Algerian accent. He smiled broadly as he beckoned viewers and called for a hijrah, leaving a land of unbelievers to join an Islamist country. I usually kept a low profile on my account. I didn't preach. I simply posted links to articles or videos such as this one. My profile picture was a cartoon image of Princess Jasmine from the Disney movie Aladdin. Let's remember that because this is a potentially funny twist to it. I tended to change my profile location depending on what story I was working on. Now I claim to be in Toulouse. I shared the video. Soon after, my computer alerted me to 3 messages sent to Melody's private inbox from Abu Bilal. Last question, he wrote. Are you thinking about coming to Syria? Walaikum salam, I wrote. I didn't think a jihadi would talk to me. Don't you have better things to do? Ha 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 ha. In reply to his question about Mujahideen, I wrote, I'm not prejudiced against fighters. Anyway, it depends on the person. I also told him I had converted to Islam, but didn't offer any details. I deliberately included spelling mistakes and tried to use teen vocabulary. I waited for his reply with a knot in my stomach. This seemed too big to be true. I had interviewed Mujahideen before, but never anyone over 20, and never anyone who expressed anything beyond the official propaganda. Okay, you're interviewing a bunch of fucking teenagers that are Mujahideen? Okay, it doesn't even admit who this really is anyways, so... to go on. Of course I had a lot of things to do, but here it's 11 o'clock at night and the fighters are finished for the day. Do you have any questions about the video you shared? I can tell you about everything going on in Syria. The only real truth. Allah's truth. We should talk over Skype. I'll give you my username. The fighters are finished for the day, so it's like a 9-to-5 job. I mean, the kind of war they're supposedly waging over there, I wouldn't think it's like a 9-to-5 job, but anyway, to go on. Skype was out of the question. I suggested we talk another time. Bilal understood. He'd make himself available for Melody tomorrow. You converted, so you should get ready for your hijrah. I'll take care of you, Melody. Bilal knew nothing about this girl, and already he was asking her to join him. I was disgusted. Going after a girl like Melody was so easy. I'd met 1,000 girls like her, with limited education and guidance. They were vulnerable. I wanted to understand how European children were falling for this propaganda, and to grasp the mindset of soldiers who spent their days torturing, stealing, raping, killing, and their nights staring into their computers and bragging. Perhaps this man would give me an insight. For now, however, it was getting late, and my boyfriend Milan was due to come around. I called to tell him I wanted to spend the night at his apartment instead. I didn't tell him how I'd spent the evening, only that I wanted to sleep next to him. Which is obviously insinuating that she was scared, right? Her boyfriend Milan. Now, remember what I said about the Disney movie up here? Whatchamacallit? Aladdin. Princess Jasmine, okay. Her boyfriend Milan. Which, yeah, it's not the same spelling, but it sounds quite similar to Mulan, the Disney movie, which is kind of funny. And, well, we got the name Milan. Milan is a beautiful name. I believe it should be categorized as unisex. There's an argument here. It's strictly a boy's name, yada yada. In French and German, Milan is the name of a medium-large bird of prey in the hawk family. Okay. Milan in the U.S. is unisex. And yeah. Not that the unisex matters. I'm just going into the name. I don't know. This doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it could be just a funny coincidence. It might not be, though, because, you know, little jokes like that tend to be left in stories like this. All right, to go on. That Monday, I rushed to the magazine where I often do freelance work, eager to discuss my lead with one of the editors. I had forwarded him the video of Bilal showing off the contents of his car. He was stunned by how easily contact had been established. He agreed that this was an opportunity, but reminded me that pursuing this could be dangerous. He assigned me a photographer, Andre. We'd worked together for years, and we made a good team. I would agree to Bilal's request to meet over Skype, and Andre would take pictures. I needed to look 10 years younger, find a veil, and somehow slip into the skin of a 20-year-old woman. Another editor, a former reporter who would also be supervising my investigation, lent me a hijab and a black dress, a kind of jalaba. I was glad to wear the veil. The idea of a terrorist becoming familiar with my face didn't thrill me, especially not when he might return to France, his home country, at any moment. Andre, wait. We're going to find out later in the article he's a wanted criminal. Like, before he left France, he supposedly, committed some crimes. So, anyway. Andre arrived at my apartment around 6 p.m. It was 1 hour later in Syria. That gave us time to prepare before Bilal came online. We looked for the best angle from which to take pictures of the computer screen and keep me as indistinct as possible. We had strict orders to prioritize our safety above all else. I pulled Melody's... Wait. It better not be flash pictures, huh? Anyway, hopefully he's not visible, or... Yeah, go on. I pulled Melody's floor-length jalaba over my jeans and sweater. When I returned to the living room, Andre burst out laughing. "It's supposed to cover more of your forehead," he said, mocking me. He helped me readjust the hijab so it covered every strand of hair, and showing only the oval of the face. I removed my rings and covered the tattoo on my wrist with the foundation. Bilal was already logged onto Facebook and waiting for Melody. "Are you there?" he asked impatiently. "Are we meeting on Skype?" "Melody?" "Hello, ha 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 ha." "Melody?" "Sorry, salam alaikum, you there?" So he won't acknowledge her until she says salam alaikum. that's just kind of odd. Um, like maybe he would ask, "Is this Melody?" But it's on Skype, so he knows it's her number. So he would think, "Yeah, that's Melody." Anyway, it was time. I sat cross-legged on my sofa. It had a high back, which hid most of my apartment and any distinctive features from the camera. Andre had also removed a photograph from the wall. He positioned himself in a blind spot behind the sofa. My smartphone was already recording, and I had another prepaid phone, which would be Melody's. I had also created a new Skype account in her name. From a YouTube video, I'd worked how to scramble the IP address. Okay, yeah, they removed distinctive features, but Andre positions himself in a blind spot behind the sofa. Why did he need to do that if he's off camera? I mean, he could just be off camera on the sofa if he's going to take pictures. That seems like going a little far with it, like more than necessary. Here's a composite from The Guardian right here. And go ahead and read it. The Skype ringtone sounded like a church bell. I took a moment to breathe. Then I clicked the button, and there he was. Bilal stared at Melody. His eyes were still accentuated with dark liner. He appeared to be Skyping from his car, using a smartphone. He looked clean, even well-groomed. He was a proud man, his shoulders pulled back and his chin thrust forward, but I sensed he was nervous. After what felt like an eternity, he finally broke the silence. "Salam alaikum, my sister." I made my voice as tiny, sweet, and bright as I could, considering I'd smoked like a chimney for 15 years. Wait, you probably couldn't do it all that well then. And I smiled. "It's crazy to be talking to a mujahid in Syria," Melody said, impressed. "It's like you have easier access to the internet than I do in Toulouse." Wait, what? What? Why the fuck would they have easier access to the internet? Being that they're not they're not quite as developed as Europe. Anyway, I share the computer with my sister, and my mom takes it away from us a lot. "Even your phone is newer than mine." And my mom? Do they say it like that in France? Because I thought she was French. Even your phone is newer than mine. In a less developed country? I was giving Melody a plausible excuse for future unavailability. She lived with her family, and she could not always honor her engagements. "Syria is amazing," Bilal said. "We have everything here. MashaAllah, you have to believe me, it's paradise. A lot of women fantasize about us. We're Allah's warriors. But every day people die in your paradise." "That's true. And every day I fight to stop the killing. Here the enemy is the devil. You have no idea. The enemy steals from and kills poor Syrians. He rapes women too. He's attacking us and we're defending peace." So it's paradise, but you're having to kill people. That's paradise? Since when? "Is the enemy the president of Syria? Among others, we have many adversaries. In addition to Bashar al-Assad's regime, he mentioned the al-Nusra Front, an armed branch of al-Qaeda, Syrians, and all those he considered infidels. Tell me," Bilal says, "do you wear your hijab every day?" I'm sorry, I've seen articles saying that al-Nusra is an ally. To go on. Melody recited what I'd heard from the girls I'd met during my research who had secretly converted to Islam. I dress normally in the morning. I say goodbye to my mom, and when I'm outside the house, I put on my jalaba and my veil. "Good. I'm proud of you. What you're doing is really brave. You have a beautiful soul, and you're very pretty on the outside, too." Bilal peered lecherously at Melody. She asked him to show her his surroundings. He claimed to be near Aleppo. In reality, he was probably several miles from the ISIS stronghold of Raqqa. How do they know that, or how can they even possibly assume that? They give no indication of how they can even assume that. Alright, I'm going to stop here and go to part 2 and then link it in the description if you want to hear more of this comedic take on it.